There's a new type of coding emerging, one that some are calling the future of programming. It's called vibe coding. And vibe coding is basically writing code by describing in natural language what you want the code to do. For example, you could say, I want to create a button that when clicked will change the background color of the web page to blue, and the AI will generate the code for you. And the idea is that instead of struggling to remember syntax rules and best practices, developers can simply describe their desired outcome in plain English. Well, there are definitely some pros and cons to consider. Pretty cool, right? This has been made possible by recent advances in AI technology, particularly large language models like GPT-4, which powers ChatGPT. It also makes programming more accessible to non-programmers, since all you need is the ability to describe what you want the code to do. It has the potential to make programming more accessible and efficient, but it's important to be aware of the downsides and best practices before diving in. So, if you do decide to try out vibe coding, remember to review the generated code, prompt in small chunks, and monitor for errors. And who knows, maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones who makes it to the top 1% of programmers. This also frees up developers to be more creative and focus on the bigger picture rather than getting bogged down by the details of implementation. But the question is this really the future of programming? While it may work in some cases, the code is often messy and inefficient, and it can be hard to understand and maintain. But if you do, there are some best practices you should follow to make sure you're not getting left behind. First, always review the code that's generated by the AI and don't just copy and paste it into your project. You need to understand how it works and make sure it's actually doing what you want it to do. Second, prompt in small chunks. This means that instead of trying to generate a lot of code all at once, you should generate code for small pieces of functionality separately. This will give you more control over the code that's generated and make it easier to debug if something goes wrong. And third, monitor for errors. Even if you're using an AI to generate your code, you still need to test it thoroughly and look out for any errors or exceptions that might be thrown. This is important not only for the security of your application, but also for the maintainability of your code. Additionally, there are security concerns as the code is generated by an external source, which means there's a potential for vulnerabilities that could be exploited by hackers. Finally, it also runs the risk of making programmers lazy and less skilled, since they won't have to actually learn how to code. On the plus side, vibe coding is much faster than traditional coding, since you don't have to worry about syntax or even what functions to use. On the downside, though, is the quality of the code that's generated. So the question is, should you start vibe coding today? Well, the answer is maybe. In conclusion, vibe coding is a new way of coding that allows you to write code by simply describing what you want the code to do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.